need to stop that G from ringing. Enter the left hand mute. I'll show you the exercise first. Then we'll go through the techniques that we are focusing on. Finally, I'll show you how to adjust your standards so that you can focus on making sure your technique is fantastic. Here it is with just 2 fingers. And here's the 3-finger version. Muting an open string with your left hand is monumentally important for bass players. You need to get really comfortable with doing this. If my G is ringing and I go to play my D, G's ringing, go to play my D, I need to stop that G from ringing. Enter the left hand mute. Just lightly touch that string with your left hand to stop it from ringing. Be gentle, but use lots of skin, lots of fingers. If you touch it with just 1 finger, you may have a harmonic ringing out afterwards. You hear that? It's not what we want. We want it to be dead silent. So, lots of fingers. That's it. Nice and gentle. As you mute subsequent strings, so as you go to mute the D, in this case, just slide your fingers over, maintaining contact with the G and the D so that you're really kind of muting both of those at the same time. Preventative muting in action. The A string, just slide over and mute that. And if you want to mute the E, same thing, just slide on over, lots of fingers, nice shallow angle. Get that string to stop ringing. The other technique I want to call your attention to is raking. If you're lazy, like me, this is pretty intuitive. Once you land on the string below with the right hand, just use that same finger to play that string. If you or your hand is overthinking things, you may, without realizing it, continue cycling through your fingers. So landing with 1 and then switching to play with the other finger with 2. Landing with 1, switching to play with 2. Don't do that. When you land with 1, go ahead and play with 1. It's already there. Train your brain to be lazy. Efficiency, right? That's one of our 3 tenets of our technique. So just use the finger that's already there. You land with 1, play the next string with 1. If you land with 2, play the next string with 2. Rather than giving you ideas for variations on this exercise, I want to go through making micro adjustments to the standards you are using when you play so that you can be sure you are upholding our non-negotiable standard, the technique filter. If this is your first time using the left hand mute, or if you find it to be a little clunky or just not quite clean, then toss out the rest of the exercise. Just focus on that. Just the left hand mute. Here's what that looks like. Break down the movement into its most basic elements. Play the G, mute the G. Play the D, mute the D. Play the A, mute the A, and of course, play the E, and if you like, mute the E. Notice how I've taken out all the other parameters of the exercise. No counting, no cycling, just the left hand mute. I've created a sub-exercise to help me with the exercise. The next step is to mute the string at the same time that I play the next string. Play the G, and then mute the G, and play the D. This should happen simultaneously, and it requires perfect coordination between the 2 hands. Play and mute, play and mute. If you're having trouble with this, then stay with it. Don't try to focus on the other elements of the exercise until you have this one piece in place. If you can't pat your head, then there's no point in trying to pat your head and rub your belly at the same time. It's just not going to work. After your muting feels good and sounds good, and you have your two hands coordinated, muting and playing at the same time, be sure that your fingers are raking when you change strings. Go ahead and cycle the fingers and then rake to the next string. If you are using two fingers and you play an even number of notes, then you should be starting the sequence on each string with a different finger. 1, 2, 1, 2. Then you rake with 2 and you start there. Go through this process slowly and talk yourself through it. Notice what finger you should end up on to make sure that you did it right. If you start with finger 1 and you play each string 8 times, raking the string change every time, I should end up starting the E string with finger 2. Knowing this in advance and checking yourself when you get there is a good way to just double check your work and make sure that everything is working out the way it should be. If I use 3 fingers and play each string only 4 times, I'll actually start each string with the same leading finger. So 3, 2, 1, 3, and then again 3. So I'm not varying the finger that I rake with. I'm always raking with the same one to each new string. But if I play each string 8 times, hence the 8 times requirement of the exercise, then I'll change fingers each time. On a 4-string bass, I'll end up starting the last string with the same finger that I used to start the first string. Starting with 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. End up on 2, rake with 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. End up on 1, rake with 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. End up on 3, rake with 3. Double check your work. Like I said, raking is pretty easy, but it may require a little bit of your attention to make sure that it's happening, and ideally that it's happening automatically. Ultimately, after you've got each of the elements in place, you want to put them all together. You can rush through easy parts, which is fine, and then take it slow and steady on the parts that require more of your focus. It might look like this. Okay, I'm going to start with my 3rd finger, play this G 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ending with 2, I'm going to mute as I play the D string with 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I'm ending with 1, landing here. Okay, I'm going to start the A string with 1 and mute the D as I play the A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Landing with 3, that's where I should be, and I'm going to go ahead and play my E 8 times. As I play my E, I'm going to mute my A. Remember, the most important thing about playing your bass is how you play it. That is the only thing that will raise the ceiling on your abilities. Without good technique, our potential for growth becomes severely restricted, limited. So take your time with these exercises. Make adjustments to your standards and use variations to meet yourself at the very edge of your abilities, always extending that cliff out across the horizon.